So a brand new movie called Self-Reliance just dropped on Hulu, and we just checked it out. So we'll have our full thoughts in just a second.
Let's play.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby.
Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my seat. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another I'd Popcorn for That review. I'm Chris,
I'm Nick.
and we are talking about Self-Reliance. So this just dropped on Hulu. It was directed by Jake Johnson and starring Jake Johnson. It's also got Anna Kendrick, Andy Samberg, a couple other cameos pop up here and there. The basic story is Jake Johnson is living his regular, a little bit down on his luck life, and is approached with an opportunity to play a dark web reality show where people are hunting you and trying to kill you, and you just have to survive for 30 days and win $1 million. It's an interesting concept for a movie. Certainly, it reminded me of a few things. What are some things that stood out to you about this movie, though?
I think they did a good job. So I had no question that the game was real, from the get go, and then it kind of does a good job of being like, wait, maybe he is just kind of losing his mind for a minute. This is the first movie he's done, written and directed, I believe.
As far as I can tell, yeah.
I mean, I'm a Jake Johnson fan. I like everything I've seen him in. I just watched Let's Be Cops the other day because it was on TV, and I think this was a good movie. He kind of plays the same character a little bit, which I think is just kind of himself, maybe, as in New Girl. But
yeah, I haven't seen him on a whole lot. I'm kind of basing it on just interviews I've seen with him and stuff, but also I really like his performance on both of the Spider-Verse movies, certainly. But yeah, I was impressed with this. The only thing, there was a little bit that I felt like, here's the problem. I felt like they could have explored a little bit more of some things, but I also don't really think this needed to be a lot longer than it is.
right,
It could have run the risk of running too long. So I don't know exactly how I think they could solve that, but the thing that you just mentioned about making you question whether this is real or not, because it's almost like part of this game is they kind of are working to convince your family that you're crazy. So they hide the fact that this is going on in such a way that it makes your family think you're nuts, and which works really well for his family because they seem to already think he's insane. And that is one aspect of this movie that's frustrating, but not in a way that I'm frustrated with the movie. It's just oh my god, this guy has the worst family and friends ever. Nobody's on this guy's side ever about anything. But yeah, I was impressed probably the most with Jake's performance here. But Anna Kendrick is I always like seeing Anna Kendrick in things. I think she usually turns in a good performance. The Andy Samberg stuff got a lot of laughs from me because he's just playing Andy Samberg.
yeah,
I thought that played well, and I think these guys are probably friends in real life because this is a Lonely Island production and a Jake Johnson directed movie. So these guys must be friends in real life anyway. You could tell this was fun to shoot and everything. But I think for a directorial debut and for something that looked like it could be very inconsequential and forgettable and just dropped on Hulu with little fanfare in January, you kind of don't expect much out of it. And I thought this actually did a pretty good job, and I was having fun the whole time. And I was actually laughing at some of the jokes in this, and I'm a little bit hard to please with comedy, I think, sometimes. So
I think the humor definitely landed for me. A little bit spoiler. I don't know if this is what you were gonna say, but the hunters that are hunting him are all dressed up as different people. One of the guys is dressed up as Mario.
I loved the Ellen impersonator
Yeah.
part. That was hilarious. And then yeah, just the 7 foot tall or 8 foot tall guy wearing the Michael Jackson jacket, and then he you can hear him describing that to someone and being yeah, this doesn't sound believable at all.
That little interaction was pretty funny too, because I was I can't remember his last name, but Boban, he's an NBA player, and he's wearing the Michael Jackson jacket, and then when he is telling people, the guy's actually, he's it's the Thriller jacket, the tall guy, and he's actually, that's not the Thriller jacket, it's a similar jacket, but
The one with the zippers is actually from the music video for Bad.
Yeah.
Another thing too, his sister, the whole family, his mom and his sisters and everything are terrible. They are kind of the worst family you could ever want to have. I mean, maybe we're just meeting them at a point where they're so sick of this guy's BS all the time. But like it just feels like nobody wants to believe him about this thing that is a life or death. And I guess that's the
Yeah, that's
right.
kind of like, would you believe one of your family members? They're like, hey man, people are hunting me. I'm gonna get $1,000,000
Yeah, I guess it depends
if
on
I live
it
for
does
30
sound,
days.
it does sound insane for sure.
I liked
Uh,
the actor who plays his brother-in-law. I don't know his
yeah,
name, but he like everything he did was pretty funny.
it was good. And I mean, there is a huge loophole that obviously he exploits in this movie. I guess I would say, if I was going to be hyper critical of this movie, I would say there's no way no one's ever exploited this loophole before.
Mm-hmm.
If this game's been played for a while, like, because at a point, well, I'm just going to get into spoilers. You should check this movie out.
Yeah.
But like, he wins, right? And this is where most of my problems lie. Like, he wins, and it just feels like the least subversive thing you could ever have done with this. And I'm not sure I have a better plan of what I would do instead, but it's like the movie builds and builds, and you're like trying to figure out what is going to be the catch of this, what's going to be the twist of this. And this could be me bringing my own thing into this movie, but it just felt like there was going to be more to the story than just that the answer is like, no, for real, there is a, it's like these Swedish people or Norwegian people or whatever, and they're running this reality show, dark, deep web reality show game, and if you do it, you really win the money, and it's real. And I guess it just felt like, okay, no, it is exactly, yeah, it's exactly what, and he wins, and it's just like, oh, I won.
Yeah.
It just felt a little. It kind of took the little bit of the wind out of my sails. I don't know what I wanted it to be, but it just felt like it was supposed to be something a little more surprising or something.
Yeah,
Does
I
that make
guess I guess that does take a little bit out of it, but it's also like the whole reason he signed up to do it is because he was lonely, and
Mm.
he would have to be with somebody, and like he does meet Anna Kendrick's character, and they form a relationship, and he does like find somebody out of it. I guess is the silver lining there for me, instead of like being let down by like, oh, it was, and how they kind of play at you and try to make you think that maybe he is kind of crazy, because there's the scene when he's got his family in the room, because he calls the production assistants ninjas, and they're kind of giving him tips throughout. He sees one outside behind his mom, and he's like, there's a ninja outside, don't look, they're not going to be there, and you're just going to think I'm even more crazy. And then she's like,
She's like, there's
okay, and
nobody
looks,
out.
and nobody's out there. And I think they played to that a little bit, and it worked
Yeah.
pretty well.
By the way, I will say this: I liked the chemistry between, as short-lived as it was, because this is not a very long movie, and it's not it's not like the whole movie is about this. But the chemistry that gets developed between Anna Kendrick's character and Jake Johnson's character, I thought worked really well. These guys must be like real good friends in real life or something. That story was just like an interesting angle on a love story that you wouldn't think you would find in a movie like this. Like, this seems like, purely a broad comedy. But I thought the love story aspect worked. I thought it was an interesting twist that the fact that they meet, like, it actually turns out to be that Anna Kendrick just thought, she read that ad and just thought, this guy's like my kind of weirdo. Like, he's just got a weird kink about, like, he wants me to pretend with him that people are hunting him, and he wants to not be alone all the time or whatever. And she's like, I also don't want to be alone, so I signed up for this thing. That was a cool callback, because at the end, he's like up at her door, and it's insinuated that, like,
Right.
he knocks on the door, goes in, they live happily ever after or whatever. And at the beginning of the movie, it's just him. You don't know whose door he's about to knock on, but he's just like super frustrated with himself that he can't knock on this door, and it's his ex-girlfriend's door. Yeah, for the most part, I have positive things to say with this. It just felt a little like it left me a little hollow at the end, but I had so much, kind of like a dream scenario or something. Like, I had so much of a good time with it while I was watching it, that even though I ultimately don't think they stuck the landing entirely, still worked for me enough that it was good. Oh, you know what it reminded me of a little? Is Passengers, or The Passenger, or whatever that was that we watched. Because he's like in this extreme scenario, and he's like forced to confront his ex-girlfriend and ask her questions, and he's forced to, it's like he's
Yeah, I get that a
kind
little
of like
bit.
speed running his way through. Yeah, I mean, they're not the same kind of movie by any means, but in the sense that Passenger had him like, okay, you've got to go. This is what we're doing today. You got to go confront your girlfriend, and then you got to go to your job, and you got to go to whatever. So in that sense, it was kind of like that. All overall, I had a good time with it. What score would you give it?
I'm gonna give it like a 7.5. Like I said, I'm a Jake Johnson fan, and I liked this movie. I enjoyed it from beginning to end. Like, a little the ending, I guess you kind of sold me on it being a little hollow, but I still liked it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly wasn't like unhappy with this movie by the. I just it didn't end as strong as as the most of the movie was, but I actually agree with you. I'd give it a 7.5.
Nice.
Highly recommend this movie. Check it out on Hulu right now. If you don't like this kind of thing, there's also Destroy All Neighbors on Shudder right now. You can check out. Society of the Snow is streaming right now, so there's a lot of good stuff already to watch this year. But thanks for watching, guys. Hit like below; that helps our channel out a lot. And subscribe if you haven't already. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers. And share this with somebody you think might get something out of it. And comment below if you've seen this movie and want to talk about it. And we'll hit you up in the comments. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one, guys.
All right, thanks. We'll see you.